Learning one of the suspects is a mom who won a $1 million lottery last year.
Everyone dreams of winning the lottery. It's the ultimate financial windfall that promises to change your life forever. But for some lottery winners, the dream quickly turned into a nightmare. No. Instead of leading a life of luxury and leisure, they find themselves behind bars, facing criminal charges ranging from fraud to manslaughter. It's a cautionary tale highlighting the dark side of sudden wealth.
I want my money!
And the dangers of losing sight of what truly matters in life. In today's video, we'll explore the stories of several lottery winners who ended up in jail. These are the 10 lucky lottery winners who got in trouble with the law and eventually got locked away. Number 10. Stephanie Harville and Mitchell Arnswald. In a classic rags to riches to rags story, Stephanie Harville and her husband, Mitchell Arnswald, won $500,000 from the Michigan lottery back in 2016. At the time, they were the talk of the town in Bay City, Michigan, with big plans to turn their lives around with their newly acquired wealth. Fast forward 3 years, the couple found themselves behind bars, accused of a burglary spree that left authorities scratching their heads. It's a bizarre turn of events that left many wondering how the couple went from lottery winners to alleged criminals. According to reports, police in Michigan linked Harville, 28, and Arnswald, 29, to a string of burglaries targeting houses around the state. The crimes were described as brazen and persistent, with authorities concerned that the couple could be responsible for even more break-ins than they knew of. So how did it all go so wrong? It's unclear what led the couple from a $500,000 prize to an alleged crime wave, but the spate of burglaries all share a similar style. The houses were unoccupied during the crimes, all happening in broad daylight. Since early July 2019, at least a dozen burglaries had hit Bay County, with similar cases reported in nearby Saginaw, Midland, Aronic, and Tuscola counties. Investigators finally caught a break in September 2019 after another break-in, this time at a rural residence in Merritt Township, Michigan. Police had already pieced together a description of a Ford SUV linked to some of the other burglaries, and they soon spotted a matching vehicle in a grocery store parking lot. Inside, they found Harville and Arnswald, as well as items stolen from the Merritt Township house. Armed with a warrant, they later searched Harville and Arnswald's house in Bay City and found more evidence tied to other burglaries. Harville and Arnswald faced one count of second-degree home invasion and possession of burglary tools, and the couple was denied bail. While they may have won big in the lottery, it seems their luck has run out. Number 9. Amanda Clayton. Amanda Clayton, a young Michigan woman who seemed to hit the jackpot by winning a hefty $1 million from a lottery game show, Make Me Rich, in 2011. She made headlines for all the wrong reasons in 2012. She was arrested for allegedly collecting food stamps and public health insurance after her big win, which she failed to declare as income. In March 2012, Detroit station WDIV reported that Amanda, mother of a 1-year-old, had received around $5,475 in food stamps and public medical benefits over a period of 8 months. Amanda believed she was eligible for food aid since she was not employed at the time. The charges against her sparked a heated debate, with supporters saying that Amanda simply wasn't aware of the rules and detractors calling her actions fraudulent. With maximum penalties, including 4 years in prison, Amanda's case attracted a lot of attention and promised to be an intriguing legal battle. She pled no contest to fraud in June 2012 and was sentenced to 9 months of probation the next month after her attorney, Todd Flood, represented her when the Attorney General's office prosecuted her for not reporting her winnings. Flood said the accused didn't have the maturity to handle the lump sum winnings and that she had some money left, but it was a far cry from where she started. She did repay about $5,500 in food aid and medical benefits. In April 2012, Governor Rick Schneider signed a law requiring lottery officials to inform Human Services about new winners. However, Amanda's story took a bleak turn when she was found dead in October 2012. 25-year-old Amanda died in her home in Ecorse, Michigan, due to a possible drug overdose. Indeed, a tragedy. Some people never unlearn their self-sabotaging behaviors and harmful patterns. Number 8. Ronnie Music Jr. A man from Georgia, Ronnie Music Jr., who won an astonishing $3 million in the lottery, pleaded guilty for using his windfall to fund a sinister drug ring in 2016. The 45-year-old used his 2015 lottery winnings to buy the narcotics and then supply them to others who would resell them at a profit. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Georgia disclosed that Music's co-conspirators attempted to sell about 11 pounds of the narcotics with a street value of more than $500,000. Agents recovered more than $1 million worth of methamphetamine, firearms, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and $600,000 in cash in the case. U.S. Attorney Ed Tarver described Ronnie Music Jr. as someone who decided to test his luck by sinking millions of dollars of lottery winnings into the purchase and sales of narcotics. Tarver added, as a result of his unsound investment strategy, Music now faces decades in a federal prison. Music pleaded guilty to federal drug trafficking and firearm charges related to his operation in his home base of Ware County. He was sentenced after the state's probation office conducted a pre-sentence investigation. In February 2015, Georgia lottery officials announced Ronnie Music Jr.'s good fortune and said the maintenance supervisor and his wife planned to save a portion of the winnings. In a news release, Music said, "I buy tickets every once in a while. I couldn't believe it, and I still don't believe it." However, he's now facing the consequences of his actions and paying a hefty price for breaking the law. While some people keep plunging into the bottomless pits of self-destruction and never return, only a few know how to bounce back and make a comeback at life like never before. Like the next winner on our list. Number 7. Callie Rogers. Callie Rogers, the UK's youngest lottery winner, who won an unbelievable $2.2 million at 16 in 2003, made headlines again after blowing her winnings on parties, narcotics, and designer clothes for 20 years. The now 34-year-old mom of 4 from Cumbria has since turned her life around after a turbulent past few years. She even described her winnings as a curse and battled depression during the pressure of winning, which led her to try to take her own life. Her life became a roller coaster ride full of highs and lows after her massive win. Callie even got in trouble with the law. She crashed her car under the influence, was pepper sprayed, and hit with a driving ban. She refused a breathalyzer and appeared at Workington Magistrates Court, where she was banned from getting behind the wheel for 22 months and given an 11-week curfew. In 2018, she feared for her life when 2 women assaulted her after a night out, which resulted in her suffering from broken ribs, smashed teeth, concussion, and permanent damage to her sight. Although she gave away several hundreds of thousands of dollars to friends and family, she soon realized some people were just using her. The former checkout worker splurged thousands of dollars on plastic surgery and hundreds of thousands on narcotics and clothes. But she does not regret the win. Rogers is now studying to become a nurse at the University of Central Lancashire, having previously gone back to school in 2018 to study social care and work as a carer. She called out for lottery bosses to raise the minimum age of playing to 18 and said 16 is too young to handle such winnings responsibly. Callie stated that she had made some mistakes when she was young and naive, but winning the lottery played a significant role in shaping her into the person she is today. Despite the challenges, she's proud of who she has become. She's also mentioned that being given so much responsibility at 16 made it difficult for her to listen to advice, even if it was good. She added that she was too young and that her carefree childhood ended overnight, and she became an adult. In April 2021, lottery bosses implemented the change, raising the minimum age to 18. Although Callie's life is full of mishaps, and sadly she turned into an adult while she was still a naive child, it's wholesome to see her making progress, working hard to become a better person and building a life for herself and her family. Unfortunately, unlike Callie Rogers, many people don't get a chance at redemption, like this couple on our list. Number 6. Alex and Rhoda Toth. A couple, down to their last $24, won a grand $13 million jackpot, but admitted that the money tore them apart. In 1990, Alex and Rhoda Toth won the Florida lottery and chose to take their winnings in installments, receiving $666,666 annually until 2010. "It is a lot of money," Alex said at the time. "It creates a lot of pressure on you." The Toths quickly spent their wealth on gifts, private jets across the world, and meeting celebrities such as Oprah Winfrey and Donald Trump. The couple also spent extravagantly on a 3-month trip to Las Vegas in a $1,000 a night penthouse suite at the Mirage. They then purchased 10 acres of land back in Florida. However, Alex lost large sums of his winnings gambling and never hired an accountant to deal with his taxes. When payments were made, their taxes were withheld, according to court documents. A decade after turning over their ticket for payment, they filed for bankruptcy in 2001 and 2002. Due to unpaid taxes, Alex and Rhoda were in debt to the IRS for $2.5 million and were later accused of tax fraud in 2006. Individually, Rhoda was responsible for $1.1 million of the owed amount, while her spouse, Alex, was accountable for $1.4. Rhoda was quoted as saying that the money has torn us apart, leading to rifts with their friends and families. Rhoda implored a judge in Florida in 1996 to shield her from her son and his then-girlfriend, alleging that they made death threats against her and the family pet and threatened to set her house and the vehicles on fire. Rhoda warned in her appeal to the court that someone was bound to be harmed unless the situation was resolved. By 2006, the former millionaire couple was living in squalid conditions, with their only source of electricity powering their home coming through an extension cord rigged to their car engine. The following year, Alex sought treatment for mental issues at a medical facility, which led to their eventual separation. In 2008, Alex died from a heart attack at the age of 60, broke and living off Social Security benefits before he could go on trial for tax fraud. Eventually, Rhoda was convicted in 2008 and sentenced to 2 years in prison for tax fraud. If you think that is crazy, wait until we tell you about the next lottery winner on our list, with an unbelievably extensive list of criminal records. Number 5. Gerald Muswagon. Gerald Muswagon was a fortunate lottery winner who won an enormous $10 million jackpot sometime in 1990. His victory had been a fairy tale turn in his otherwise troubled life. However, Muswagon did not know how to handle the fame and fortune that came with winning the lottery. His spending habits were widely known throughout Winnipeg, and rumors began to spread shortly after he won. He spent nearly all his winnings on buying new cars for himself and his friends, purchasing a lavish house that became a nightly party pad, and celebrating with narcotics and alcohol. He notoriously purchased 8 big-screen televisions for friends in one day. Muswagon's attempt at starting his own business, Gerald's Lodging, failed due to low sales and poor decisions. In October 2000, he led police on a high-speed chase in his new Chevy Silverado and was later sentenced to 3 months in jail for dangerous driving. After blowing all his fortune, Muswagon, who used to live in Norway House in northern Manitoba, resorted to working on his friend's farm, doing strenuous labor to make enough money to support his girlfriend and 6 young kids living in their humble home in Winnipeg. In November 2002, he was charged with repeatedly misbehaving with a 19-year-old woman who was helping him tidy his house after the death of his wife, Virginia. He later pleaded guilty to the assault charges and was allowed to serve his 3-month sentence intermittently on weekends so he could continue working during the week. Muswagon's lawyer stated that his client had a troubled past dating back to 1981. He had been convicted of several crimes, including assault causing bodily harm, drunk driving, theft, and breaking and entering. His lawyer claimed Muswagon's problematic behavior was due to difficulties adjusting to life after growing up with minimal education in Norway House. Things took an unexpected turn when he was found dead in 2005. Muswagon hanged himself in his parents' garage at 42 years old. People are very upset, and this is all very surprising, said his cousin, Mike Muswagon. He further revealed that Gerald had been depressed lately, but kept that part of him well hidden from others. His family attributed his death partly to the fact that he did not have anyone around to guide him during this time in his life. While the pros of winning the lottery are endless, the cons are boundless as well. And the next guy bore the brunt of it a little too much. Number 4. Lee Ryan. Lee Ryan realized his biggest monetary win was actually a grueling curse in disguise. The British man won an incredible amount, equivalent to $8 million, in the lottery in 1995. However, 6 months later, he was rotting behind bars branded the Lotto Lag for handling stolen cars. Although he served only 9 months of an 18-month sentence, Ryan became the first British lottery millionaire to be jailed. Ryan had prayed to be rich while serving a sentence in 1986 and was miraculously blessed with everything he had ever wanted. But he quickly discovered the downside of having a colossal fortune. He splashed his winnings on $1 million country mansion and a fleet of luxury cars, including a Porsche, a Bentley, a Ferrari, and a BMW, each with a personalized license plate. He had everything he could ever want, including a swimming pool, tennis court, sauna, jacuzzi, and game room. But the high life came with its own set of problems, and Ryan and his family received death threats, leading him to beef up security and hire a bodyguard. Influential people turned against him because of his attitude, and he took the threats seriously, ensuring that his family was well protected. Things began to fall apart, and he split with his wife in 2003, spending time with his new partner in Kyrgyzstan before returning to the UK in 2010. However, Ryan's life took a dramatic turn when he was forced to sleep on the streets in a sleeping bag just 15 years after his big win. He claimed he was happier than ever before and hosted homeless people as guests in his South London flat. He now works as a cameraman and still lives in the same flat, a far cry from the days of luxury and wealth. Ryan's story is a cruel reminder of how we should be careful with what we wish for. While Lee Ryan was still able to make a life for himself, despite all the backbreaking events, some just keep spiraling down with no end in sight, like our next lottery winner. Number 3. Freddie Young. A heart-shattering incident occurred in Detroit in 2012, when the then 63-year-old lottery winner Freddie Young was sentenced to 25 to 30 years in prison for the shooting death of his daughter's landlord. The victim in question was 45-year-old Greg McNicol, a native of Australia, outside the Detroit apartment building he owned. According to authorities, McNicol was involved in an argument with Young's daughter over 2 months' worth of unpaid rent. During a recorded interview with the police, Young claimed he didn't realize he was holding the gun until the weapon suddenly went off. Despite his arguments that he acted in self-defense, the jury found him guilty of second-degree manslaughter. However, one of his attorneys, Jeff Edison, stated that his client would appeal the sentence. Following the incident, a judge temporarily froze Young's money after McNicol's widow filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Even so, Young's Lottery Club shared a whopping $46 million jackpot in February 2011. Each club member was initially set to receive around $1.6 through a cash payout. At the court following the verdict, McNicol's widow expressed her sentiments and said she was pleased with the sentence given to Young. "I think that's the minimum that the whole family was expecting," she said. Life took an awful turn for Young and his family, and his story goes on to show no amount of money can save you from yourself and the hideous demons you hide within. It's nerve-wracking to know that Freddie Young was not a rare case who won big but ended up getting locked away. Number 2. Willie Hurt. In the year 1989, Lady Luck smiled upon Willie Hurt when he hit the jackpot. Can you imagine the rush of excitement coursing through your veins as he realized he had won a mind-boggling $3.1 million in the Michigan lottery? It was a golden ticket to a world of possibilities, a ticket to transform his existence into something unimaginable. But what seemed like a fairy tale come true quickly transformed into a haunting nightmare. The sudden influx of wealth clouded his judgment, and the grip of addiction trapped Willie. The insidious power of substance abuse shattered Willie's world like fragile glass. The love he once cherished, the bonds he held dear, disintegrated like ashes in the wind. With his novel wealth, he was a happy family man with 3 children and a wife. But within 2 years of cashing in his winning ticket, Hurt was penniless, addicted to narcotics, and in the midst of a painful divorce. His life had taken a woeful turn. To make matters worse, Hurt wound up in a legal quagmire when Wendy Elizabeth Kimmy, a 30-year-old woman, was fatally shot in the head at a boarding house where he had been renting a room for the past 3 weeks. Reports suggested that he and Kimmy had been on a 2-day drug and alcohol binge before the incident. Prosecutors allege that Hurt became enraged when they ran out of narcotics and shot Kimmy. He confessed to the crime and turned himself in. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation for Hurt. His jackpot winnings were coming in 20 annual installments of about $156,000 at the time. While a conviction would not have prevented him from receiving the money, much remains unknown about what ultimately happened to Hurt. It's natural to think that things evolve over time, and the odds of history repeating itself are pretty low. But the next person on our list would change your mind, whose case is similar to that of Willie Hurt. Number 1. Michael Hill. Finally, we have the harrowing case of Michael Hill that would make you lose all your faith in humanity. In 2017, a nuclear power worker from North Carolina, Michael Todd Hill, won a staggering $10 million lottery scratch-off ticket, and his life changed forever. He and his wife were overjoyed at their newfound wealth and made plans to pay off bills and invest in his wife's business. But little did they know that their happiness would be short-lived. Just a few years after his big win, 54-year-old Hill found himself in the middle of a domestic dispute with his 23-year-old girlfriend, Kiona Graham. Their relationship was tumultuous, and they had a history of problems. Then, in 2020, Graham was found dead in a hotel room with a gunshot wound to the head. He was the only other person in the room with her, and surveillance footage showed he was the last person to see her alive. He eventually confessed to authorities that he had killed Graham because she was texting other men while they were staying at the hotel. Despite his wealth, he was unable to control his jealousy and anger, and it ultimately led to a tragic ending. In 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder of Kenoa Graham in 2020. Prosecutors stated that Hill was also given a 22 to 36-month sentence for possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. This sentence will be served simultaneously with his life sentence. It's very likely that the deceased family would sue him in civil court, and they would be awarded the lottery money. This case is a cutthroat example of how money can't solve your problems, and it certainly cannot fix your internal issues.